Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Marathon Net podcast. I'm your host Brian, and joining me today is a special guest hailing from the land down under. It's Australia, and it's Matt Ford of the kick-ass band Celestial Burial. How you doing, brother?
Good man. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And how you been recently? How's the weather out there?
Yeah, good. Well, we're in summer at the moment, so it's pretty warm, but we're all used to it down here. So yeah, that's-
That's good to hear. And sorry, you're kind of breaking up a little bit too. Are you using your headphones right now?
I am. Yeah, yep.
All right. Well, I'll make do with that. We'll see how it goes. But how you been recently? What's new?
Yeah, good. So I'm playing in a black metal band called Price Dismembered. So we're doing a fair bit this year in terms of shows and uh, you know possibly looking at doing some recording and all those sort of things. So it's pretty big year, and there's also some things happening with Celestial Burial as well, which we're dropping a new album in May and that sort of thing. So it's all going pretty good.
Yeah, I checked out Celestial Burial last night, and I have to admit, it's been a while since I heard a good kick squeal in a good while.
Yeah, yeah,
So is it just you, or I guess how's the whole band? Is it just you and one other guy?
yeah. So it's just me. I write the music, and a mate of mine who lives in another state does the vocals. So yeah, just a two piece at the moment.
That's pretty cool, and you'll get to elaborate on it a little bit more too. But Matt, I want to welcome you to my podcast right here. The way this is going to work is I'm just going to ask you some questions. Let's get to know you more, both as the musician, but also as the individual too. So, ready?
Yeah, no worries. Yep.
All right. So I'll start with the first one here. I guess tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you become a musician?
Well, I started off as a drummer back when I was younger, and went from there. Went to onto guitar, and I started playing in bands in the early 2000s. Um, yeah, and just from there, I've been playing guitar for 25 years now. So it's yeah, it's been a good journey so far, and done a lot of cool things. So yeah,
I guess who influenced you to start drumming and then later take up the guitar?
I'm gonna say probably Metallica. Metallica. I was a pretty big Metallica fan growing up when I was younger, and all that sort of thing as well. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, so I was right into them growing up, and that's kind of what made me start drumming, and then getting into guitar, and then I've got into heavier music and all that sort of thing, and um, yeah, I've got heaps of influences now from all genres. So
Yeah, Lars is definitely a kick-ass drummer too. Been going strong for usually now
yeah,
it's like 40 plus years now. So,
yeah, yeah.
but I guess since you say you're really into black metal too, was it like the Norwegian sort of scene that kind of inspired you too, or is it pretty much like Behemoth and those other bands?
Yeah, I like it all, man. I mean, the first black metal bands I did hear were from the Norwegian, like the first Norwegian bands and stuff like that. And then yeah, I just got into all of it. Started listening to bands from yeah, all over, like black metal from sort of all over the place. So I like it all.
Instead of like I want it all, it's like I love it all. The
Yeah,
Queen song right there.
yeah, man. Yeah,
I guess were your parents pretty supportive whenever you said, "Mom, Dad, I want to be a musician"?
they were. Yeah, they were. Which is, it's great. Because I've played in death metal and black metal bands, and I don't come from a really religious family, but my mum was raised Catholic, so um, but she was always very supportive of the path I chose and all that sort of things, regardless of what it's all about and all that sort of thing. So it's been really cool.
Good woman. It's always good to have your parents' support too, especially
That's it.
especially when you do jump in the music scene too, because obviously you've seen it since you've been in it since like the early 2000s. Obviously,
Yep,
music not the highest paying job, but at least probably the most rewarding experience being able to interact with the fans and make some pretty kick ass music.
yep, yep, definitely.
I guess would you say those are the big reasons like why you love music, or do you have other reasons why you love playing music, or especially death metal music too?
Yeah, I guess I just like when I first heard death metal, I liked the aggressiveness of it and all that sort of thing, and then uh, yeah, and just the it was a challenge to try and play it on guitar as well, and um, yeah, my I mean, I started off listening to sort of um, not as heavy bands, but then my taste in music just got heavier and heavier and all that sort of thing. So um, yeah,
Because was it your dad or some member of your family that introduced you to Metallica and like some of those other metal groups of the '80s, and maybe later on with the Pantera and those guys?
yeah. So I mean, I grew up listening to and yeah, it was sort of just in the house by parents and stuff like that. Listening to AC/DC and Metallica and Guns N' Roses and Def Leppard and Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, all those bands. So yeah, it's always kind of been around me. And then as I got older, I just yeah, just sort of started getting into music at about 12 or 13, and yeah, kind of went from there.
Did you do any instruments in school? And I guess did you also go to like a university afterwards?
Yeah, so like I said, I started off as a drummer. I started playing drums at school, and then I started playing guitar around the same time as well. Um, and at the time, I didn't really have the space for a drum kit, so I was learning guitar as well, and guitar kind of just kind of I liked doing that more, and it was easier at the time. So yeah, I just went with that.
I see. Actually, I was thinking of the drum line too, but do they have some sort of drum line in the schools in Australia? It's kind of similar to what the states here do.
A drum line.
Drum line, it's kind of hard to explain, but normally during like half times of American football, they normally bring out people who are like playing on the drum sets. They got like those little, it's like pads that kind of stretch across their body like this. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so like a marching band type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Not really. Nah, we don't really have that here.
We'll just say word of the name. It's primetime, bitch. Actually, where'd you come up with that idea for the song name? Because I was thinking like, you must have either liked American football, or that was something just came out of nowhere. To be honest.
Now, so the new album that we're working on is all based on like iconic horror characters. So yeah, me and Aaron both came up with the idea to uh, yeah, to sort of write an album with the concept being yeah, horror characters and all that sort of thing. So yeah, so each track title is based on a iconic uh, horror character. So yeah, we just kind of went with that, and that's where the title came from, because I think Freddy Krueger says it in a movie or something, one of the movies. So
Yeah, old Freddy Krueger is pretty badass too. Plus, we got Fast and Furious going on in the background there, folks. So try to bear with us.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like I said, how did you and Aaron meet?
yeah. So me and Aaron met back in 2010. Uh, Both of our bands were on a compilation CD at the time, and playing the same sort of style of music, and we just sort of kept in contact. And yeah, since like it was a couple of probably a couple of years ago now, I noticed that he was doing another two-man project, and I had a heap of material written that it was just sort of sitting there, about 2 albums worth. So I messaged him and asked if he'd be interested in excuse me, asked him if he'd be interested in putting down some vocals over these tracks, and yeah, just went from there. So we recorded our first few tracks, and then contacted Grindhead Records in Sydney, sent them a few tracks. They liked it, and they signed us um, to their label, and then we released our first album, and yeah, it's kind of went from there.
All right, that's awesome, mate. That's good to hear. So I guess let's go ahead and talk about Burial and
Yep.
elaborate on it a little bit more there too. Then we'll get into the other groups right afterwards. So how did it all start?
Yeah, so just like I was saying, it was basically I had a heap of materials written and it was just sitting there. And then I hit Aaron up and asked if he'd be interested in doing vocals, and yeah, we just went back, went from there, man. Just sending music and you know vocals and song ideas and all that sort of back and forward, and until we had the whole sort of album done, and then we just went from there, and um, yeah, pretty much about it.
I guess when do you guys do the vocals? Are you doing one set and he's doing the other one, or are you like just learning your own vocals on top of each other?
No, no. So he does all the vocals, um, and I write the music, and then he sends it back to me, and yeah, we mix them, and then send them to the label over in Sydney, and yeah, technology, man. We don't even have to be in the same state. We can just basically send everything to each other and send it off, and you know, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, intelligence. So we
It
definitely
is,
thought
yeah. Yep.
that's all cool. I guess where do you come up with the song name "Wake Up and Bleh"? What you want to talk about?
So yeah. So that track we originally did to work in conjunction with a coffee company um, over in America, I think it was actually. Um, they were putting a compilation CD together, and yeah, we put this song together um, to sort of work with them, but then it kind of didn't work out. So I think the song's still out there, but yeah, that's where that track came from. Anyway, it was about coffee, and just a super heavy song about coffee. So
Yeah, it's I think when it comes to death metal too, we'll pretty much lump everything together and try to make it. For some reason, I thought it was gonna be like a little gory at first too, because if I was looking at the album cover, I didn't know it was actually the devil just like sitting there. The way I
yeah,
thought first, I thought it was like gonna be someone just gonna regurgitate all over the place. To be honest, gotta make like one of those blood pukes or something like that. So I think like
yeah.
that's so metal. So hey, that's all cool too. I guess go ahead and talk about some of the other bands you've been a part of too. I guess how'd you get involved with them?
Yeah, so the other bands I've been involved with, um, like yeah, probably the most notable ones would be I played in a thrash band in the sort of early 2000s, and we did a bit of touring and stuff. Um, and then yeah, and then from there I played in a band called Capeman, where we did an Australian tour around 2010, and then we recently sort of started playing some more shows a couple of years ago. We had like a pretty long break, and yeah, in the meantime, yeah, I've just been doing solo stuff as well. So I've got a couple of black metal projects, Dark and Winter and Inverted Soon. Um, and yeah, now I'm playing in a black metal band called Crisis Members. So yeah, uh, pretty busy.
I'll say you're definitely keeping yourself busy. I guess is this really your full time job, or have you worked like multiple jobs?
Uh, no, so I do work a day job as well. So yeah, it's not a full time job. I yeah, pretty much end up like just doing this in the in the yeah, sort of on the side. So I'm trying to might try to find somewhere a bit quieter.
Yeah, not your fault though. A lot of people coming in. I guess where are you at right now? What sort of festival are you at?
Yeah, so it's a festival called Blood Sacrifice Festival. It's an all day metal festival. Um, with yeah, different bands playing and stuff. We had to load in at 9 o'clock this morning and don't play till 11 o'clock tonight. So it's a long day.
All right, go kick some ass there, mate. I guess
Cheers.
actually, do you know about the band Thy Art Is Murder? Are they also out of Australia?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're from Sydney.
I guess have you ever seen those guys perform live before? I guess what are they like?
Yeah, I have. Yep, they are pretty good. Yep.
I think I stumbled upon them quite by accident too, but unfortunately, I never really got into music. I think it was Your Desolation. I think that was one of the songs that kind of introduced me to him.
Yep.
So definitely heavy. I'll tell you that much too. But they look like cool guys, nonetheless. I guess which part of Australia are you hailing from?
South Australia. So yeah, down down in the south, sort of. Go any further, you'll hit Antarctica. So yeah,
As far south as we can go, to be honest. So
that's it. Yep.
I guess how's the music scene these days? And then we'll jump into COVID a little bit too. So I guess how's been the music scene these days where you're at?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really sort of picking up, and uh, yeah, it's going really well. Especially the last few years have slowed down, and no one can really do much, but it's starting to pick up again, which is really good.
I guess let's go ahead and jump into COVID a little bit too. I guess how bad did COVID impact you? Was there sometimes where you weren't able to do much in terms of music wise?
Yeah, we're a bit worried about doing interstate shows and stuff because we didn't want to go interstate and then get stuck and not be able to get back, stuff like that. So yeah, it did get pretty crazy, like lockdowns and states locking down and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, but it's kind of all relaxed now. So
It's at least more chill these days too, so it's all good.
yeah, yep.
I guess did you have any brushes with COVID?
Uh, yeah, I actually caught. Well, I managed to dodge it for a while, and then I caught it. I reckon it was early last year. Was the first time I caught it. So yeah, I mean, I managed to dodge it for a few years, but then it eventually caught up. So yeah, uh,
Eventually, it catches up to you too, and sadly,
yeah.
it was the same way with me because have you ever been to Nashville in the USA?
I haven't actually been to the USA. So yeah,
Nashville's known as Music City, but it's also where a lot of the country western bands come out of. And
yep,
it was actually the first time me and my parents went down, and sure enough, we got COVID after coming back from it. So that's what happens when you party on Broadway a little too much right there and seeing like all the cover bands playing and everything too. I don't think there
yep,
was any originals. I think they were all just cover bands, just maybe doing this and that, or maybe covering the originals, maybe giving it a little bit of a heavier tune, for instance. I don't know, but
yeah,
I would later say it was worth it. But even though I tried hopping on my drum set afterwards, like try to ease it out too, because I was actually trying both thrower, and I was actually trying to do no guts, no glory, and I just couldn't do it. I mean, my body would just not work at all too. So it definitely stuck too. It was more the fatigue, if anything, too. There's maybe a little stuffiness, and everything else involved too. But I mean, what are you gonna do in that case? You go on it for about 2 weeks, taking those little tablets, Paxlovid or whatever you call them. Then
yep.
eventually you start feeling better afterwards. So, but it's good to see you made it through there, mate. It's good to see you are doing well too and kicking some major ass. So,
Cheers, man. Yeah, no, I'm definitely glad that it's all lifted and music sort of back to normal now. So yeah, I actually played some shows for COVID, and it was really strange. Like, everybody had to be sitting down, so it was like seated crowds and stuff like that. It was weird, man.
sounds like that's like how the old shows used to be. Like if you look back, like with Black Sabbath in like 1970, for instance, there was
Yep.
one footage. There was one footage I saw with them in Paris, and it looked like it was your traditional theater where everybody's sitting down and you're just seeing these guys playing the earlier versions of heavy metal as this too. And I'm
Yeah,
thinking, oh man, I'd be jumping like crazy. They were kicking some ass, and they're all sitting down. And I don't know. I guess I was gonna ask how weird was it because I think you already answered it. So was it just like you're trying to get the crowd pumped up too? Because
yeah,
that's what metal does.
yeah. No, that's it. So you had people like headbanging and stuff, but in their seats, so they weren't allowed to stand up. So it was pretty strange. Yeah.
Let's picture it too. It's like probably rocking it back and forth like this, and just try to like headbang every too. I guess how would they try a mosh pit afterwards? They have to like hold the seat, just go like in a circle or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there was like no moshing. Like, you weren't allowed to do any of that. You weren't even allowed to sing or um yeah. You weren't. if you were standing up with a beer or something like that, you got in trouble. You had to sit down with it. It was quite strange. So yeah.
Man, you guys were strict. Tell you what, that would not fly in the States. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, I was surprised that it flew here. I mean, everybody loves their beer down here, so yeah,
Who doesn't love their beer? I mean, everybody's got a microbrewery these days. Everybody and their grandma does. So,
yeah, yep.
you guys, speaking of which, what's your favorite alcoholic drink? Kind of jumping ahead in the questions, but go ahead and let's go ahead and jump into this.
I'd say probably I don't mind rum. So yeah, like rum and stuff like that. But mainly, I suppose if I'm gonna have something, it's normally beer. Um, but I also do like spirits, Jack Daniels, rum, stuff like that.
Like the Captain and Coke ones.
Sorry, what was that?
One of the rum spice drinks is actually Captain Morgan. You drink Captain
Yep,
Morgan?
Captain Morgan, I do like that. Yep, yep.
Let's say, do you do Captain and Coke every now and again?
Every now and then, yeah, yep.
Good choice. I like it. All right. Well, I guess go ahead and talk about the gear that you guys use. So I guess we'll start with you, and I guess what else does Aaron use in terms of the production and bringing it all together?
I'm actually not sure of what he uses production wise, like to do his vocals. But he does have his own sort of home studio, so he records all the vocals over there, sends them to me. Um, I've got a computer set up and stuff like that. And um, year wise for me, recording music and stuff like that, I run a plugin called Revolver, which sort of simulates all the PV amps and stuff like that. So I run that, and yeah, just use that to record guitars. Um, and then all the drums, most of the drums on the Celestial Burial stuff as well are programmed. So yeah, so we sort of I get all that sort of mixed and yeah, and then record bass and yeah, just go from there. It's pretty simple actually because it's all just done sort of DI now. So
AI is slowly taking over. To be honest, it's going to be like a Terminator scene before you know it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I guess for the drums, do you use like a superior drummer?
yeah. So I use a program called Easy Drummer 2, which is similar to a Superior Drummer. So I use that, and then I use another program called Easy Mix 2 to sort of mix it out, all that sort of thing.
Good choice. Yeah, I think I looked at Easy Drummer before I decided to do a Superior Drummer 3.
Yep.
Oh, I think what it was really that kind of brought me into Superior Drummer. I think it was just because I think everybody gave it the so-called thumbs up, or at least a lot of reviews and everything too. So I think that's pretty much what ultimately sold me for Superior Drummer. It still does
Yeah.
good nonetheless too. I guess I guess before you started doing bands and everything too, did you try doing covers or anything, whether it was guitar or drum covers?
Yeah, I actually started off when I was about 18 playing in a cover band, and we were playing covers from Slipknot, System of a Down, um, Slayer, sort of all of that type of stuff. Um, and then yeah, from there, then I sort of went on and yeah, started writing original stuff and playing in original bands. So
You were kind of doing a mix of like the thrash and like the new metal that was coming out then too. So
yeah,
I had a lot of what you said Slipknot. So I was thinking like, oh man, those guys must have been doing like Iowa's music to be honest too. It was like,
yeah,
if you ask me, that is the darkest material that they ever put out to be honest too.
Iowa.
Iowa, yeah.
Yeah, that album was pretty good, man. Like, um, I think I recall seeing an interview with Joey Jordison, and he said that yeah, like by far that was probably even they think that was like their darkest album that they ever did.
I think the funniest thing is I think the darkest song, in my opinion, that they ever did, let alone recorded, was the song Scissors.
Yeah,
Just,
yep,
just because it starts off like your traditional metal style, with the
yep,
dynamics, like it starts soft and it gets loud. And then it's just when it gets to like the middle of the song, it's like what the fuck is going on right now?
Uh,
So
yeah, man.
I mean, it's a. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I actually thought that the track title Iowa had a really dark vibe to it as well.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, you just listen to how Corey was screaming and everything too, and the lyrics wise, it's almost like, damn,
Yeah, man.
we really wrecked this poor guy's life or something like that.
Yeah,
But I will say, surprisingly, the best concert I've seen on a DVD, for instance, would be the Disaster Pieces live when they were in London,
yep,
2001 or 2002, I think, whenever they recorded it. So
yep, yep.
sadly, a lot of the guys are either retiring or two of them have already passed. With
Yeah,
Paul Gray and Joey Dorson died. May they rest in peace. And then you got Craig Jones, Chris left. I think it was only four. Yeah, actually now Jay Weinberg ended up. Did they say he got fired or did he resign? I couldn't remember that.
Uh, pretty sure he got a message saying, yeah, he was fired, out of the blue.
Tragic to say the least. But it looks like he's doing okay right now. So we'll see where he ends
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, let's see. So I guess tell us your process of creating a song, for instance, too. So do you normally start off with the lyrics, or do you like to make the music first and then throw lyrics on top?
Yeah, so we usually do the music first and then lyrics on top. Um, I've always sort of always done it that way, but I also have had times where I've written lyrics and then I've kind of had an idea of how I wanted the song to sound. So I'd write a song based on how the lyrics, what the lyrics are about. But most of the time it's yeah, music first, lyrics on top after, and vocals.
I would say, because I actually done a couple of collaborations with a couple of friends of mine, and one of them we'll get to in a little bit. It was TJ Garcia from Waiting on the Bridge.
Yep.
And I do have to agree. I feel like it's easier doing the lyrics last, and then you just throw it in on top afterwards with the vocals, because it then
Yep.
allows you to able to go along with the music, go with the flow, to say the least. I
Definitely.
love that thing. Yeah. I
Yep.
guess I know I brought up TJ Garcia, so I guess how did you join that little Facebook group that he seemed to put together?
Uh, sorry. How did I join the Facebook group?
It was TJ's group, Waiting Under the Bridge. I think it was that Chainsaw Death Sludge. I think that's the name of the Facebook group.
Okay. Um, I'm actually not sure about that one. That might have been Aaron. That because we both run the page and the social side of things. So that might have been something that he did. Um, yeah. So I'm not too sure about that one.
Huh. I guess it must have been him I was talking to originally because I
Oh, what?
posted I did post my interview with TJ, and
Yep.
one of those comments was, "We want to get involved with this." So I guess that was Aaron I was talking to originally, and then eventually you came along and actually helped out too. And here we are.
Yeah.
So, big shout
Yeah.
out to Aaron, by the way.
Oh yeah, Aaron's a great dude, man. Uh, and I messaged him and I did say to him, hey man, I've seen that we've got this interview coming up, and I did ask if he wanted to take this one, and but he said, oh, you might know a bit more about the questions and stuff. So I said, all right, I'll take this one. So yeah,
Good choice. Good to have you along here, mate. Actually, we're doing pretty good right now. So I know you talked a little bit about your lyrics earlier. So I guess
yep,
so I know you talked about Freddy Krueger, and then there was another song with Pennywise from Stephen King's It. So I guess
dancing clown.
It's in Cloud, yeah. So I guess so.
Yeah.
What else inspired your lyrics? Are you just mainly doing like horror sort of themes, or is there some sort of underlying meaning?
So for this new album, Hymns of Horror, that's basically all based on horror characters. The first album, Genocidal Extinction, was all based on uh, yeah, pretty brutal topics. But yeah, so this album we yeah sort of it was actually Aaron's idea to do horror characters and dedicate a track to different characters. So there's one to like Jason Voorhees, one to Michael Myers, one to Freddy, one to It, and so I thought it was a pretty cool concept.
Cloud is Pennywise from a Stephen King.
Yeah, yep.
But I guess were you inspired by any of the horror characters? I guess you used to watch it way back in the day. And it's like let's bring it back in.
Yeah, no, I've always I used to watch horror movies growing up and all that sort of thing, like all the iconic stuff, and uh, yeah, and Aaron as well. So it's something that we both uh, both grew up watching and stuff. So yeah,
I guess what'd you think of the Saw series they made?
yeah, it wasn't too bad. I I don't think I don't think I've seen all of those movies. Maybe like two or three, maybe. But yeah, it wasn't too bad.
It's funny I brought that up too because there's a friend of mine. He can't do the sight of blood, especially if it's like real gory, even if it's like CGI for some reason.
Yeah,
And
right. Yeah,
the one time I was talking to him on the phone, and this was Saw 3. It's when one guy's on the machine and it's like twisting parts of his body in like
yep.
full 360s. And
Yeah.
he just saw it. He's like, no, 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 no. And he's freaking out over there too. So I actually felt bad too because I was actually watching it with another friend of mine. I think we're both laughing too. So I mean, you feel bad, but at the same time, it was pretty funny. So
Nice. Yeah.
I was also trying. I always thought the premise was right because it was always like, what good is your life if you're just doing, crazy shit or bad shit? To be honest, too. I think they had the right premise. I think the way they kind of did the writing and story, I think it was not the greatest. Maybe after two, I think one and two were pretty good. So
Yeah. 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 I think I got through one and two, and then uh I don't know. I kind of just kind of lost not lost interest, but I just kind of lost you know touch with them, and then before you know it, they've released like five of them. So
they actually did another one too. It seemed like it was kind of like an in between story. I think they call it Saw 10 or 11 or something like that. I can't remember right now. But I want to say, people, don't judge me. I'm sorry, but nonetheless, it was like in between. I think it was between two and three. I can't remember, but
yep.
surprisingly, that one did pretty well. So I would say the funniest one. It was when they had these two giant blocks of ice, and it came. They both came down, and it crushed the guy's head like this, and it literally splattered like a grapefruit. So
Yeah, right.
I
Nice.
think I think me and one of my friends were like, "Holy shit!" That sort of thing too. That's what you mean there too. And I know I'm jumping ahead to the fun questions too, but I guess which one would you say is your favorite horror movie?
Favorite horror movie? Actually, not too sure. Um, I can't think of one, to be honest. I've I've seen a lot. But yeah, I don't. It's funny because we're releasing an album based on horror characters, but I don't actually watch a lot of horror movies anymore. So yeah,
Life gets in the way, so he at least has a good excuse. So it's all
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah,
But I guess what other characters are you going to cover outside of Jason, Freddy, and Pennywise?
yeah. So there's Chucky. He's in there. Ghostface. Uh, Pinhead from Hellraiser. Um, I reckon that might be it. I think there's 8 tracks. So yeah,
It's a pretty good choice. You might figure
yeah,
some along the way, but we at least spoiled that much, so that's all good.
that's it. Yeah.
Just trying to remember it. I don't remember Pinhead. I think I'm thinking too much of the Conehead one from like Resident Evil. I was trying to think of someone like that.
Yep.
Or Pyramid Head.
But,
I think it's Pyramid Head. I think that's his name or something like that.
yep.
So
Moving. It's gonna get loud again.
yep, we have to move back outside right now. So
Yeah. Yep.
that's all good. So I guess
Yeah.
let's go ahead and jump into this one. So you've been a musician for a good while, obviously playing some bands, and seems like you did a good amount of touring too. Have you just stuck in the whole state of Australia? Have you really done any international travel?
Yeah. So I've toured around Australia, but I haven't done outside of Australia yet. So yeah,
Nice to get you out here to the States too. So that'd be nice. But I
yep.
guess I was looking into this question too. I guess what challenges have you faced being a musician in like these metal groups?
Probably uh, time restraints. Like you have to make sure that you're getting everywhere on time and getting your gear there as well. You're not getting it lost and all that sort of stuff. Um, yeah, financially, as well. Uh, it doesn't you don't make a lot off it unless you're playing a heap of shows all the time. So yeah, that's why most of us have to work day jobs as well to sort of put money away for it for when it comes time for when we do have to tour and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, apart from that, man, that's probably about it, really.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I guess. Have you faced any obstacles in creating new songs? Maybe try to figure like how can we make a difference so it's not like a one trick pony.
Uh, you mean like writer's block and stuff like that?
Along those lines, yeah. But I guess also if you want to call it guitar's block too, since you also got to make the riffs and everything too. So if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I have had moments like that where you'd be in the middle of writing a song or writing an album or something like that, and you kind of don't know, or you hit a wall, you don't really know how to continue on with it. So at those times, I'll usually put it aside and then go back to it. Um, because it's always good to come back and listen to it with fresh ears as well, because you might just you might be sitting there one day and you just can't think of anything, but then you might go back the next day and you think, oh, yeah, that'll fit perfectly, and you just come up with something straight away. So yeah,
Yeah, writer's block. And I also made a new analogy with guitar's block too, since
yeah,
it's pretty hard trying to like diversify yourself. Like some of the other music too, because way your music kind of, at least I kind of described it too, it kind of reminded me a little bit of a deathcore band, Chelsea Grin, that I listened to way back in the day.
yeah, yep,
Maybe not as fast pedal, because obviously you guys are doing some major blasting there, so I'll give you that much. So
yeah, yep.
I know you did talk about you being a drummer. Were you able to do 1 foot blast at one point?
I never, honestly, I never really pursued drums um, past school, so I stuck with guitar. I mean, I can still get on the kit and have a bit of a jam, but yeah, I'm nothing special on the drums. So yeah,
I was going to say in black metal, I think that's a big prerequisite to have in terms of blast beating and everything too. So
yeah, definitely, yep.
that's it to me. I guess jumping into this question here, I guess what advice would you give to other musicians on social media, and I guess some musicians that you meet who are perhaps up and coming?
Yeah, just keep at it and don't be it's a long road, and takes a lot of time, a lot of practice. Uh, you know, um, yeah, just don't be discouraged, and if you really want to do it, just keep at it, and you eventually, you'll get there.
It's a long uphill struggle against Mount Everest too. So eventually someone's got to make it to the top. So
That's yeah, that's it.
that's all good. And I guess I was trying to think of another question too because I'll think about it along the way too. So how about we jump to the fun questions right now? So ready?
Yeah, yep.
All right. So go ahead and talk about this. What would you consider is your favorite food?
Favorite food, probably I do like tacos, so like that's all food. So yeah, I don't mind that.
I think this is the third interview in a row. Everyone said some sort of Mexican food, to be honest. So,
Okay, yeah.
but you said taco too. Do you really dig any sort of Mexican food, like the quesadillas, the burritos, and all those ones?
Mainly burritos. Yeah, they're pretty good. Like Zambreros, that type of stuff. That's pretty good.
I guess are you a spice fanatic too? You always like throwing a nice little hot sauce on it.
I don't mind like a bit of bit of spice, but not overly hot. So yeah,
I do have to ask this question too. Ranch or blue cheese? Because I think this is now going to be a new question we're going to bring up.
I'm gonna go ranch just because blue cheese just sounds really disgusting.
Actually, a friend of mine has been bringing it up, and I used to play football with him. He's actually now a coach, but he brings it up on Facebook every now and again too. It's almost like blue cheese is better than ranch. So
Yep.
I would say I have warmed up to it with blue cheese, but I've never been a ranch guy. I always love dipping my wings in it. So
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'd try it. I mean, I'm pretty keen like that. You know, like I'll give it a go.
yeah, I mean, hey, if it works too, you only live once, so might as well make the most of it. So
Yep.
for next and fun questions here, we did talk about. Is there another one of your movies you would consider as your favorite outside of horror, like any action or dramas or any of those ones?
I do like you know, like I'm a fan of the you know, Tolkien movies, so like Lord of the Rings and all of those types of movies. So yeah, I don't mind those. They're pretty good, but they are long, and I do struggle to watch them all in one go because they're really long.
It's literally impossible. I mean, I think we were tempted one day to actually do the whole extended edition. Which have you seen the extended edition?
I haven't, but yeah, I've known people as well that have watched like all three of them in one day, and I don't know how they do that.
I don't know, but God bless them too, because we could
Yeah,
we did like one, and we're thinking like this is just not worth watching it all in one day. So,
yeah, that's it.
all right. That's pretty good choices, I guess. Out of the three, which one would you say is your favorite between Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and Return of the King?
I'd say probably Return. That was pretty epic.
Good choice, yeah.
A lot of really cool you know, battle scenes and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
I guess would you do a song based on Sauron if you ever get around to it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say no. Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool concept.
I challenge you to do it, so there's my challenge to you, mate. So make it happen.
No worries.
In your own time too, no rush. So I'll let you guys
Yeah,
figure it all out.
yep.
And I guess so. You did mention about what would you consider as your favorite non-alcoholic drink? So you obviously said your favorite alcoholic drink. So now we go non-alcoholic.
Yeah, probably. But when I'm not drinking alcohol, it's usually yeah, which I don't drink alcohol much anyway. That kind of came out wrong. That probably sounded bad, but um, no, usually I just drink water and maybe a coffee here and there. Um, pretty much about it, really.
Good choices. Yeah, I think we were mentioning about rum and all that stuff earlier too. I think like, man, this guy must be a drinker after a nice little head bashing and also kicking some ass on stage. So
Yeah, yeah. No, well, when I'm playing, I usually try and you know, try and be sensible. You know, especially when you're at a festival all day. It's like last thing you want to do is be drinking all day and then getting up on stage and you just you know can't really do what you're there to do. So
I'm gonna say it doesn't really mix well together, and it makes for a very bad night afterwards. So
um, yeah, yeah.
good choice. And I guess for our last of the fun questions, what would you consider has been your favorite song or a song you've been listening to a good bit recently?
Favorite song. Oh, you know what? It's actually one of it's actually a new one that we're working on. Celestial Burial. That's probably the latest one I've been listening to a lot, and I'm pretty happy with it. But I can't really say anything about it. It's not released yet, so but
To be determined. So, or to be continued. It'd be like one of those things.
yeah, 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 yeah.
We're building up to the sequel. So, all that too.
That's it. Yeah.
I was trying to think of two. Did you ever dress up as? I guess first off, does Australia do anything like a Halloween, kind of like what the states does here? Everybody dresses up in costumes and goes trick or treating, getting candy, all that stuff.
Yeah, they do that here, but it's not as big as obviously as it is over in America. But yeah, it's still celebrated here, of course. Um, some people celebrate it, some don't. Yeah.
I was gonna say, did you ever dress up as one of your iconic supervillains, like a Freddy Krueger or any of those guys?
No, I didn't actually. No. No.
I should just try to picture you as a Jason Voorhees, to be honest, too. So
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep.
yeah, I think I can see it. You got the hockey mask and everything too. Just give this guy a machete and everything. He's ready to kill. So
That's it. Yeah.
yeah. So Matt, we breezed through the questions here pretty good, and we are actually down to one more question. But I guess did you have any questions for me or any final words you want to say before we jump into it?
No, just cheers for having me on, and to everyone that's supported Celestial so far, and yeah, stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming up in the next probably this year, and we've got some pretty big news coming next year too. So
Because how many bands are playing at this festival too? So let's give a shout out to those guys real quick.
yeah, yeah. So there's about probably 20 bands on the festival today. Um, yeah, so it's yeah, all of those guys are absolutely killing it. Um, and yeah,
Because I bet they're already starting to kick some ass back there, to be honest too. So
they are, man. Yeah, well, I think the first band went on at 12:30. So yeah, so there's been a few bands on so far.
all right, sounds good. So go ahead and jump into the final question here, which basically a little ironic too, because in metal we always seem to talk about despair, that sort of thing too. Uh, but for this question here, given what COVID has done, obviously seems you've been pretty blessed, not impacted too badly. Looks like your family was able to get through okay.
Yep.
What sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in the post-COVID world?
Yeah, uh, that's a tough one. Yeah, just I guess just keep try not to let it discourage. I mean, I know it's been really hard over the last few years with lockdowns and you can't go anywhere and stuff like that. But I guess you know now that everything's starting to relax, um, get out and support your local bands, your local businesses, all that sort of stuff. Sort of get out and sort of start helping everyone out again because uh, it's really had a big impact on a lot of that sort of stuff.
Spoken like a true prodigy. So,
Cheers.
right, right. So Matt, we reached in my podcast right here, and talk for about 50 some minutes right here, but it's all good. So, did you have any final words? Any shout outs you want to get before we close?
Just a big shout out to Ryan from Grindhead Records for having us on. Really big shout out to Aaron Mangano, vocalist of Celestial. He also plays in a couple of other bands, Calvert, and he plays in another one, but I'm not sure I should say it because it's a bit I don't know what the language is a bit full on. But if you find him, you'll be able to find the other bands that he's in too. Um, uh, yeah, and just to everyone that's supported Celestial Burial and all that sort of thing, really really appreciate it. And thanks to you, man, for having me on.
No worries. And thanks for coming on too. Obviously, a lot of background noise too, but we at least may do what we can, so it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, no worries.
All right. So, Matt, I'll let you get back to the concert out there. Make sure you guys go kick some ass right there. And I did forget to ask, what social media are you guys on so people can support your music and check you guys out?
Yeah, so we're on most social media, so Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. Um, you can pretty much find us anywhere. So
All right, sounds good. So, everyone, my guest today was Matt Ford, hailing from Australia. He's part of the death metal band Celestial Burial. He's got kicking some major ass, so go hit him up on the socials. Go subscribe to your YouTube channel. Also, go check out Aaron. I guess whatever bands he's a part of too. I guess can they also find Aaron's music through all your social media and everything too?
you can, yep, yep. He's got all of his up on Spotify and everywhere. So yep.
All right, you're from this guy right here. So, Matt, I want to wish you best luck going forward there, mate. So, rock
Cheers, mate.
on. You stay safe. Stay tuned, y'all.
See you, mate.
Cheers.